So this exercise, very quick, I'll sub it down. It's talking about memory and how it feels when you remember different things. So if I ask you to remember the first line of a song you really like, they talk about Hey Jude, but if you are too young to remember the Beatles, they suggest another song that you enjoy. If you remember the painting, Mona Lisa, if you remember your childhood house, the house where you grew up or where you spent most of your childhood, if you now remember the definition of truth, and finally, if you remember the definition of watermelon. So you shouldn't rush this, but if you just think about remembering your childhood home versus remembering the definition of truth, you'll be aware that your feelings may be very different and the way you're using your brain is very different. And they go on to say that actually memory isn't like a filing cabinet, it's much more like a piece of Velcro. And you've got lots of loops in your head and lots of little hooks. And the more ways in which you can link the loops with the hooks in your memory. So if you're thinking about your childhood home, you'll have a whole range of memories, smells maybe, and noises of your siblings, and a vision of a house or whatever it is. Lots and lots of things to let your memory latch onto. Whereas if you're trying to remember the number of your credit card, you've probably got a couple of hooks that might find their corresponding loops if you're lucky. So what they're saying there is, if, for example, you conjure up specific examples and build stories around them, like the Nordies or the air hostess or whatever they are, actually your ability to be remembered increases because you're tapping into people's feelings, their heart as well as their minds, and sensory details that again allow them to conjure up what you've said the moment and long after they clicked on the Zoom meeting.